Donald Trump sends Nigeria a unexpected Christmas gift in the form of bombing Islamic terrorists into oblivion. TARIQ Nasheed, leader of the FBA online cult, suffers a humiliating defeat at the hands of TARIQ Bey, aka Morris World TV. Deontay Wilder goes on a podcast and slams his ex-wife slash baby mother and her stepson, which is wild. And Nick Shirley exposes the depths of Somali corruption and fraud taking place in Minnesota. I am Brandon Tucker, and this is another episode of Defiant Brandon. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you all. As you come in, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know if there's anything wrong with the audio or the visuals. We've been investing in the channel over the Christmas break. Shout out to my lovely sister. She gifted your boy some real studio lights. And I must say they're looking good. 'Tis the season. Well, not if you're in Nigeria, ashy as hell, but 'tis the season. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna make this a call-in show. If you guys request it, I'll put the link in the comments because I'm sure y'all got something to say about some of these topics. But ultimately, what we're looking at is, I wouldn't call it a Pan-Africanist civil war. What I would say is you have two different sides of Pan-Africanism. You have the goofy, delusional side of Pan-Africanism, the pie in the sky Pan-Africans who believe that they're fighting some war against white supremacy, and that, you know, every African on earth is going to come together and fight white people and drive them into the sea, as Shaka Zulu once said. And then you have the realistic Pan-African people who are looking at Africa as, you know, in the way that 99% of the rest of the world is looking at Africa, as an economic opportunity where we can go in and not exploit or take advantage of Africa's resources. And I believe our number one resources are people, but empower the people on the African continent. Go in as like brothers and sisters, which we are genetically speaking. We're 1000% African, just as much as an African born on the continent. And I feel like it's not just our duty, but it's a privilege to continue the work of somebody like Marcus Garvey. You know, that's our OG. And he said, we're going to go build it in Africa. It's a very simple task. It's not a simple task, but the goal is clear. The goal is obvious. What's become diluted is, you know, people's approaches to reaching the goal. And then you have people who really don't care about the overall goal. All they want to do is romanticize it. Some people want to grift off of it. Other people are just apathetic towards it. And then there are some people, black people, who just want to kill it outright. You hear people saying stuff like Pan-Africanism is dead, it's failed, it's this, that. I gotta see where Pan-Africanism died. Because from where I'm sitting as a Pan-Africanist person, I have no shame in saying that. I see us doing more in the furtherance of Pan-Africanism now than even Garvey was able to accomplish. Now, he laid the foundation. He never reached Africa, but he definitely used himself as an example of the right mindset. And basically, he's the person who really made the goal clear. But now we over in Africa with businesses. We own land. We're doing business with continental Africans. And the bridge has very much been built. The bridge is intact. As with anything that's positive, you're going to have detractors, but that comes with the territory. But ultimately, we are, in my opinion, and I think it's inarguable that we are definitely furthering the work of Garvey, men like Martin Delaney, people like Kwame Ture, and we're doing the real work, not on the internet getting mad, trying to, all FBA got is jokes, cracking jokes on people. That's their defense mechanism. It's like a possum playing dead. We know you alive, fool, and we got you. FBA thinks that cracking jokes and lying to themselves about TARIQ Nasheed and his capabilities is some type of win. I don't get it. I'm not a person who's a part of that school of thought. But listen, as Pan-African people, we're going to have things that we disagree on. And, me, I don't really like to go at the person who disagrees with me, so to speak, when it comes to matters of Pan-Africanism. Me, I just like to examine the facts. You have people divided, Black folks, over Trump bombing ISIS terrorists in Nigeria. There's people in Nigeria who are divided on this issue. I know that the president of Nigeria, Tinubu, the Muslim terrorist enabler, in my opinion, one of the primary reasons I will never set foot in Nigeria until that situation is rectified. You can't have a Muslim president who does absolutely nothing to combat Islamic terrorists and think that guy's in it for everybody. You just can't. And what I'm seeing in Nigeria is Tinubu is doing nothing. He keeps talking about, it's not about Christianity. Listen, at the end of the day, radical ISIS terrorists are slaughtering people in your country. It doesn't matter if it's about freaking whether we eating cornflakes or frosted flakes. They're slaughtering people in the countryside of your country, and you are ultimately doing nothing about it in a country that has damn jets that can bomb stuff. We know that because he bombed positions over, was that in Benin? He just bombed Benin, but won't bomb the Islamic terrorists. Now, I want you guys all to think about this before I break this situation down. Tinubu has the capability to bomb targets in Benin with fighter jets, but does not use those fighter jets to bomb terrorists in Nigeria who are killing people. You can't debate it. Undebatable. It's indisputable. He won't use the planes to bomb terrorists in Burkina. The man won't use the planes to bomb any terrorist installation in the whole Sahel, West Africa. But he can go bomb coup plotters in Benin. But the United States somehow, from the ocean, can bomb terrorist installations in Nigeria. Guys, it's obvious. And my boy Africulture is saying it right there. It doesn't matter what you say. It's like my granny used to say, it's going to tell on you before you tell on it. Tinubu has revealed himself to be a terrorist Islamic radical enabler. He's literally just saying, I'm just going to do nothing. I'm going to do nothing. Instead of actively moving to protect the people of my country who just so happen to be Christian, or any group of people who are being slaughtered by these radical Islamists, in the north of Nigeria. So I don't understand what the debate is over, because the whole time people are disagreeing and denying and, shaming Trump in his actions. What were they doing when people were getting slaughtered? Nothing. They were literally just like, it ain't over religion. Okay. It has nothing to do with Christianity versus Islam. Okay. But are people dying? Because if somebody busts up in his house and murder everybody in here, and it wasn't religious, but people got slaughtered, and I'm gonna be looking at the people who are commissioned with the job of to serve and protect. I'm gonna be looking at them like, why aren't you doing your job? Right? So understand these people, I don't care if you disagree. And somebody had the audacity to message me on Instagram talking about, oh, you supposed to be a Pan-Africanist, but you ain't talked about Trump bombing Nigeria like I'm supposed to be going at Trump for doing it. Listen, I'll tell you straight up. I don't care if I never get another view. Thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you for doing what the black man on the African continent is not man enough to do. Because you're not going to convince me that in a country with a billionaire like Dangote, a country that can bomb another country with fighter jets, is doing everything they can do to stop these murderous Islamic radicals when they haven't even flew a single plane in an effort to combat what's going on over there. Period. You cannot sit up and tell me you're trying to that you have a country for all people, right? You can't say you have a country for all people and everyone's safe and you're ensuring the safety when radical Islamic terrorists are going into government buildings, kidnapping hundreds of people. Are you retarded? They're going into government buildings, kidnapping hundreds of people in a country that's poor. You just spread around a little bit of money and you're going to get all the information you need. Tinubu is not trying. He should be 100% deposed. He should be impeached if there is a process for that, and he should be removed. He should be removed. And I honestly believe that Nigeria should put a 10-year ban on anyone of Islamic faith becoming president of that country, because we know they're thieving the elections. We know that already. We know that they're enabling terrorism in the north. We already know that. So the point of keep playing and acting ignorant on it, you're playing with people's lives, honestly, and you need to stop. And it's a damn shame that the president of the United States of America is willing to do more to combat that situation than the president of the country. Like, and you got people within Nigeria risking their lives to tell you, hey, nah, this is something fishy going on here. But you got these people who are so-called Pan-Africanists going after Trump, shaming Trump for doing what nobody else was willing to do, for intervening in situations that have been going on for a decade or more that people like Biden just ignore. Well, here's the reality. What is Pan-Africanism? What part does radical Islamic terrorism play in Pan-Africanism? Because they're not there to unite Africa and make Africa like a whole all black vibe session and build economically based on the based on our genetic commonality. They're there to further Islam. They stuff is it's not about nobody black. It's about the furtherance of Islam. That's it. Sharia law. So how are you telling me that you got Pan-Africans who traditionally this is not a Islamic movement? Marcus Garvey was a Christian. How do you have Pan-Africans now saying we're going to go against Trump in defense or on behalf of Islamic radical terrorists? Just explain it to me. Your job, Pan-Africanism, is mostly economic. It's an economic endeavor. But even Marcus Garvey understood. That's why he had a military. He even understood that when you enter into the continent, there will be forces that are hostile to the furtherance of Pan-Africanism, period, across the board. He didn't go in there. He wasn't going to go in blind. He had pilots. He had a military force that he said would survey the land and handle all potential threats. right? He had a Black Star Nursing Corps. These mostly females would be supporting in a medical capacity. He had all that. But how do you call yourself a Pan-Africanist when you come out in defense of entities that threaten Africa on a fundamental level? Because let me tell you, if radical Islam gets a foothold in Africa, it's done. You're done. You're done. Look at what's going on in Sudan. Look at Morocco. Look at Algeria. Look at all these countries. You already have several countries that show you are a prime example of what happens when Islam gains the dominant position in an African country. Those countries are no longer black. There's some black people there. You could even look at Ethiopia. There's some black folks there, but they pretty much end up getting phased out, bred out. You know, they say they have all types of secret squads going around slaughtering people, right? Allegedly. This has always been the case. So that's my question. How do you call yourself a Pan-Africanist while supporting anti-African entities? Like, I would say, I'm not going to just say Islam as a whole, but definitely radical Islam. Definitely radical Islamic terrorists are anti-African in every way. In every way. And the way we know that is they're running around slaughtering people like it's 1994 and we're up in Darfur or something. I'm sick of it. And I'm sick of African presidents turning a blind eye. And we know why they do it, because they're getting paid. That's one thing Islam has, is money. And the Somali criminals in Minnesota are funding a lot of that terrorism, allegedly, with the money that they're stealing from the government, from the taxpayers of America. A Lebanese woman went on the news the other day. She said, look, I'm Lebanese, and I'm going to tell you, all this stuff the Lebanese were doing in America, they were getting this money to fund Hezbollah. Islamic people will tell you that there are people within their ranks in America who get money and send money and donate money to fund terrorist activity in other places. 1924. You know, I'll explain the hat in a minute. But yeah. So what I want to do is I want to go a different route today. I want to show people exactly what's happening, because I scoured the internet for information on this situation, and the information out there that's being disseminated by black people has nothing to do with what actually took place. It has everything to do with emotional retort to what Trump did. Oh, Trump's bad. Trump's a devil. The white man. Da 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 da. I don't see the white man in Africa slaughtering everybody. What I see is radical Islam is doing that. Then let me say this too. Let me say this too, because I identified another angle of hypocrisy within our community as far as this is concerned. For years, I've had to listen to people tell me, Brandon, the United States is sponsoring the terrorism over in the West, in West Africa. The West is behind it. Ain't that what y'all used to tell me? The West is behind it. The West is behind it. The West is funding it. They want to do this and steal the resources. That's what I was told by these people who say they're Pan-Africans. The West is funding it, right? It's France, it's the United States, it's this, da, 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 da. Russia's on our side, stuff like this, right? But the minute the United States takes military action against the Islamic radicals that you guys claim the United States is funding, the same people who were saying the United States is funding the terrorism are now angry with the United States for bombing and killing the terrorists. Can someone please help me unpack that? The minute the United States, Trump specifically, takes decisive military action against the radical terrorists that you claim that the United States is funding in an effort to undermine West African countries, all of a sudden those same exact people are going at the United States. If I divorce my wife, is she still my fucking sister? Type hillbilly thinking. So Trump is sponsoring the terrorism, but he's a bad guy for killing the terrorists. You living in Wakanda or some type of delusional fantasy land. That is called cognitive dissonance. That is the very definition of the term cognitive dissonance. You are trying to entertain two opposing ways of thinking at the same time. Trump is sponsoring the terrorism in the West, in West Africa. The Western countries, including the United States, are sponsoring the terrorism, but if they kill the terrorists, they're white devils and they're the enemy of all black people. I don't know what it is about me, y'all, but I just can't think like that. My mind worked too good. I spent too many years sitting up in school to be that damn, learning critical thinking to be that damn stupid. Let me get Mika. She's commenting. Define Brandon. Good analysis. There is a plot to make Nigeria an Islamic state. This has been going on since the Islamic invasion of North Africa in the 7th century. 100%. 100%. Now, this is a person she's from Africa. She just came to the States a couple years ago. Islamists are anti-black. They're still conducting slavery in Libya, Mauritania, and Sudan. And that's a good question I would like to ask all you lovers of Islam. Why, if Islam is the black man's religion or whatever y'all say, why aren't these terrorists? I mean, they're willing to fight. They're willing to die, right, over what they believe. Why don't they go eliminate the slave markets in Libya, Mauritania, and in other places around Africa where they still have slave markets? The Sudan, if they were about black, if they were somebody that Pan-Africanists should be defending, why aren't they taking their aggression, taking their expertise, taking their skill at terror, right, and going to inflict that damage and pain upon people who hurt black people? Why aren't they doing it? You're shaming Trump for killing somebody who is willing to slaughter an innocent person in the north of Nigeria, but too much of a pussy to go engage with the people who have the slave markets over in Libya, where you got black people still being sold like this is the 1800s. Explain it to me. Explain it to me. And that is the question that I want you to ask any of these so-called Pan-Africanist people who out here shaming Trump for bombing Nigeria. If anything, you should be like the Nigerians. You should be thanking Donald Trump for doing that, because none of these African leaders had the balls to do it. We learned that these dudes have strike capability, aerial strike capability. We know that, right? Tinubu struck Benin. We know they got the capability. They have the means to do it, but they won't do it. And when Tinubu struck Benin, the coup plotters, did the United States come against him like, yeah, you can't be doing that? No. If everything is designed for the white man to control West Africa, why didn't any of the white countries in the West go after Tinubu for doing an airstrike on Benin, the coup plotters? Please tell me. Because from what I hear, the white men don't like Nigeria because it's too independent and it's hard for them to control it. We're going to have to stop with this double-minded thinking. The link is in the comments if somebody want to come up and drop a thought on it. We're going to have to stop the double-minded thinking. But until somebody comes up who wants to drop an opinion, we're going to actually we're going to educate ourselves on this. We're going to go to a video really quick, and we're going to look at exactly what took place, because I'm tired of us speaking out of ignorance. It just makes us look bad. We speak out of ignorance, and we don't know what the hell's going on. Africulture in the building. What's up, my brother? I'll let him drop his thoughts on it. To what actually happened. What's up, my brother?
Cool. And what you were saying, because the last like minute that you were talking, I didn't hear anything because I was backstage.
Oh, I was saying that how is it? Did you hear the part where I said they say the West, the white man, oh, I was saying if the Islamic people, the Islamic terrorists over in the Sahel in West Africa are worth defending, why aren't they using their expertise to go in those slave markets up in Libya or the slave markets over in Mauritania or Sudan? If Islam, you know, practiced by Africans is a pro-black thing, why don't they use their anger and vitriol? Why don't they weaponize that against the people who are oppressing black people in those countries instead of using it to just slaughter innocent black people who are just trying to survive?
Well, I mean, when you speak on religious people, like Muslims and stuff like that, they gonna come up with a reason to justify it. You know what I'm saying? Like most religious people do that can't think outside of the confines of they religious texts or whoever taught them something. They just follow what people they feel like is more basically qualified like a imam or a pastor or whatever. They say stuff that doesn't really make sense and they'll just use that to justify why things happen. And the funny thing about it is, like the lady said about Mauritania, a lot of those enslaved people in Mauritania are Muslims. They're black Muslims, and in the religion of Islam, in the Quran, it says a Muslim is not to enslave another Muslim. Even if you enslave a non-Muslim and they convert to the religion, you supposed to free them. You supposed to set them free. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these people enslaved in the Sahel are Muslims. They are practicing Muslims. That's the funny part. And that should show y'all that this shit ain't about no religion, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's about domination. It's
Right.
it's still about clans. What
Conquest.
clan you from? Yeah, it's about your clan. Like, blacks and the other Africans in the north, they always been beefing. They've been beefing for a long time. So I mean, it's going and they was trading too. They was trading salt for slaves, gold, all that shit.
Oh,
And
word
that's
to it.
just that's something that been going on in the Sahel, and I don't agree with it. You know what I'm saying? But I see different shit happening nowadays on social media, but in real life, it's still going down. And I just look at it, and that's why, when I start dealing with more pan-African type shit, I just kind of left Islam alone because you can't really be a pan-African Muslim. You can't. Other people might feel, differently, but me as somebody that's a stickler and an enthusiast in history and genetics and all that shit, especially when it comes to Africa, I just couldn't do it no more because it just don't make sense. It's contradictory.
And here's the thing too. I want people to understand something. The same stuff that these dudes is doing in Nigeria, this is the same stuff these Somalis is gonna do. If they ever got power and something happened with America to where we didn't have the police to knock the shit out of their ass, these Somalis would be doing the same thing to non-Muslims in America that those Muslims over there in Nigeria are doing. It's always a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's always Islam is a religion of peace. And as soon as Islam gain an inkling of power over you or they're stronger than you, all of a sudden your ass is on the chopping block. Because when Islam first came into Nigeria, they came as on a mission of conquest. Then, you have people, certain empires fighting against them, whatever. But then there was peace, right? There was a cool time where everything cooled off to an extent. Now, look, we in 2026. And these dudes are slaughtering people talking about some Allah and the Quran said this. Bro, the world is going global. So you can kill 100 million Christians in the north of Nigeria. You're going to slaughter all those people only to have 30 years from now, Becky with the good hair jogging her dog straight through that neighborhood. Let's be real, because that's what it's going to look like in 30 years. As people continue to move around the world, spread out, as technology advances, it's going to be just like the hood. Bloods and Crips killed each other for decades in a community, Now, neither one of them could afford to live there. And Becky with the good hair is jogging her Yorkie through that neighborhood. And all the gangsters who died and killed for that little piece of dirt, they're nowhere to be found. Like, it does not take a genius or anthropologist to see that, right? You don't have to be a fortune teller to see that. The Nigeria is industrializing. And I really feel like Islam is 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 a enemy of progress. Because if you go to their countries, only certain ones like maybe Saudi, UAE, and stuff like
Mhm.
that, they're built up. But if you look at those countries, they are more of an enemy to radical Islam than anybody else because
Mhm.
they understand I can't build a skyscraper to have these fools blow this shit up because they mad about something. So they eradicate, they kill those dudes. They catch you doing terrorism, they kill you with no question. You don't go to Guantanamo, none of that. You get shot or hanged in the street. So why would anybody who claims to be pro-black be defending this? It blows
Islam
my mind.
Islam was made, it was created to unite the people of the peninsula. People outside of the peninsula, that shit don't belong to y'all. Even people that don't look like us, that shit, them people in North Africa, they oppress everybody. The small elite, the Arabs out there, they oppress everybody. They don't even want the Amazigs speaking their language. They don't even want them people to learn their genetics.
Right.
Since they look closer to Arabs, they cover a lot of shit up, from them. And
Yeah.
I see it because I follow a lot of genetics groups, and I see them people, they be talking about how they don't let them get genetics tests. Genetics tests is banned in Morocco or certain
Mhm.
countries, they can't even learn about who they really are. And then when they find out who they really associated with genetically, they be all surprised and shit like, damn, I thought I was an Arab. I thought I was this. I thought I was that. So it's oppressing. It oppresses a lot of people, not just black people. You know what I'm saying? And people just need to realize that shit was made for those people at that time from the peninsula. You know what I'm saying? And that's why in African countries, that practice Islam, that's because they received radical Islam at an earlier time than now.
Mhm.
And it's not created for them. It's created to keep they countries backwards. And the countries that created Islam, that's why they on top, like Saudi Arabia. Because that's where that shit was born from. That's
And
that's
if
who
you
it was meant to unite.
And if you really look at Islam, right, like when the Africans first converted, whether it's like Songhai Empire or whatever, you correct me because I don't know the exact history. But if you look at what they practiced, right, they practiced a bastardized version of Islam. They didn't
Facts.
really practice true Islam.
Nope.
You can't walk through the palace with your titties out in Islam,
Yep.
but that's
Yep.
what they was doing. They
Yep.
adopted Islam as a protective
Yep.
measure.
Yep.
We getting tired of having our golden shit
Mm-hmm.
stolen on the road by Muslims. So if
Yep.
we convert to Islam, a Muslim cannot rob another Muslim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is another thing. If you look at how they practiced it, if you got like when Muslim scholars and stuff would go to these countries, they would notice that it wasn't being practiced, properly. They weren't doing no damn Sharia law down in those African countries.
Nope.
But everybody who converts to Islam, which I would say the majority of converts who are black came through the prison system, it's always about protection. They did it because they was in jail and getting into it, people, and they needed the Muslims to protect them. OG Bobby Johnson in the movie South Central, right? That
Facts.
story has played out thousands of times. But
Facts.
listen to me. I want you to focus on something. If you're a Christian, the Bible says that the Lord does not want forced worship. God does not want forced worship, right? So any Christian who go killing in the name of spreading Christianity, they're violating what the Bible says. That's what the Bible says. So if you go like we're gonna go on conquest and convert everybody through force, guess what? They're wrong to do that. But that's why there's a lot of Christian missionary work still to this day that takes place all over the world. Uh uh Catholicism might have got into South America through the conquistadors, But why it was allowed to stay is because the Catholic Church went over there and did a gang of humanitarian projects, feeding kids soup and all types of crap, teaching kids English. That kind of made the people like, yo, we love this. This is our thing. But what I want to say is this: if you have to be forced to become a part of something, whether it's through fear of other inmates taking your butt cheeks or fear of Muslims robbing your trade routes, that's not real. That's not real conversion. That's just that you've been fear mongered into accepting something you don't really believe. But I think the idea of being a Pan Africanist and the idea of being a Muslim, they're totally contradictory. And I think it takes a very little thought to arrive at that conclusion. Anything else, agriculture?
I ain't trying to attack nobody religion, but I think, being a Pan African and subscribing to Abrahamic religion in general, regardless if it's Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, I think it's contradictory. But
I agree with you.
Christianity, it does to me, even though it was spread by the sword at an earlier time, than Islam, it does, like in the modern times, it does have a better reputation to me than Islam does. Now that's probably just in the West. Some people probably in the Eastern world, they probably have a lot of good. They might have some good, ideas of Islam over there because they more surrounded, by Islam or whatever. So they live in the Islamic world. So, but yeah, I mean, I think in general, those religions are anti-African, and you always gonna have a conflict of interest, and and all that type of stuff when you dealing with like pure African type stuff, like Afrocentric type stuff.
So my bro says you can't become Muslim by being forced. It's not acceptable. Well, that's how all Africans became Muslim, by force, basically. They were getting robbed and killed on the road by Islamic marauders, and they were losing a lot of gold and spices and salt and everything else. And as a way to stop that, they learned if you become Muslim, a Muslim cannot rob another Muslim. A Muslim is not supposed to kill another Muslim or enslave another Muslim. But here's the thing: they didn't do that willingly. They did that out of necessity. That's by force. Because if you don't do it, we're gonna keep doing X, Y, Z to you, and you're probably gonna end up dead or conquered. If that's not by force, I don't know what is. But I'm not gonna attack Islam. I'm not gonna say Islam's good or bad. What I'm gonna say is this: we live in the age of information and technology. If Christianity is the right way to go, there there are medians where Christians can give the information. If Islam is the right way to go, there are medians where Islamic people, imams and stuff, can give the information for the public to see and hear. And there's forums where they could debate these ideas. And that will convert people way better than slaughtering people, right? But I'm just telling the Islamic people, these terrorists slaughtering people in the name of Allah and Sharia law and stuff and jihad, that's not helping your cause. It's not. And I don't think the Islamic people do enough to condemn these people. What do you think about the African? Do you feel like Islamic people are as adamant at condemning radical Islamic terrorists as they are, say, condemning Donald Trump for deporting Muslims, Somali Muslims?
Not at all. Like that, they turn a blind eye, bro, willingly. Like I got kicked, I got blocked and deleted off of a thread about that. It was a Muslim guy talking about the Trump issue or whatever. And I asked him a simple question. Nobody answered. I just got a whole bunch of runaround, and then I couldn't even see the post no more. So that's
Right.
all you gonna get. That's all you gonna get is the run. And that's one of the reasons why I left Islam, because when I would go to the masjid, and most of the time it probably was an African American based masjid, even though sometimes I went to other ones too. But you would try to ask them like historical based questions, and it was just always non-historical answers. So it's like It's like, man, you should be able to come to some type of leadership or whatever and ask them a question, without some BS. And at least a answer that's attempting to be more truthful. I just got tired of it, man. But yeah, that's what you're gonna get most of the time from most religious people.
Even if you're wrong, just be like, we're wrong about that. We're learned. Like, I feel like a lot of Christian churches will do that. They'll be like, yo, we was like, look at the Catholics with the molestation stuff. They had to come out and be like, yeah, we was wrong. It's happening. It's wrong. We don't approve of it, whatever. But then they just moved a lot of the priests around. So that was hypocritical. But the point is, you gotta be honest in whatever you do. And I feel like I have never seen Islamic people in America raise up the way they're doing over these Somalis being deported. I've never seen it. They didn't even do that after 9/11, bro. Like, after those Islamic terrorists blew up those buildings, I didn't see the protests to the level that we're seeing protests over Somali immigrants getting sent back home.
Nah.
So that tells you what they care about. That tells you what the priority is. They couldn't give a damn about the people dying at the hands of Islamic terrorism around the United States. But if you try to deport one of them, they ready to go. They ready to go nuclear on you. Go ahead, KP.
How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. What I was gonna say is, yeah, the whole Islam being forced thing, like that in the Quran, it tells you that you got to take your shahada. You have to, for one, your shahada is a declaration. You have to believe in that. You're not a Muslim without your shahada. Period. That's period. There's no way around that. It tells you in the Quran that you cannot force anybody to be Muslim through war. You cannot do that. There's nowhere in the Quran that is permissible as a sin to ever do that. Does it happen? It happen with every religious group. It happens all the time. And like that's why I say I agree with you when you were like, you can't point out one and not the other. Like they have their goods and bads. And for the brother, I mean, you're gonna go to some places and some people might not have the answers. But the first ayat that was revealed was Iqra, read. We have the tasfirs, we have the scholars. I mean, if you have a question in Islam, there's a way to get to it because everything is pointed out, it's laid out for you, it's right there for you. Now the problem is we have difference of opinions, or we have people who are not really religious scholars. A lot of people, especially a lot of African American brothers in America, because a lot of us have received our deen through the prison system. It's more Prislam than anything. It's a warped reality of what it is. A lot of people don't learn the deen until they actually get out of prison and start going to masjids and having dawah with other people. So, I've heard people have those struggles. And another thing, Tuck, ain't nobody joining no Islam in prison for no protection.
That's what
Not in,
people told me.
not in California.
I know my brother did for sure.
Because I mean, if they do, that's an individual choice. But in the California penal system, it's kind of like to do that would be stupid because Muslims don't own real estates in prison. At the end of the day, you got to have real estate in prison to really move something around. I mean, Muslims have stand down in riots because they are not supposed to, if it's not Islamic, if the riot is not Islamically, then they're not supposed to get in. Now, of course, you have dudes that are former gang members or former, prison gang members who are going to join in just because they black. But when it comes to a lot of race riots, Muslims be the ones that stop them. A lot of times they will bring them out to have the conversations, but they don't like to go to me from a person who's done time in California prison. Like I've rarely ever seen that. Now I can't say what a person do because motherfuckers join gangs in prison because they scared. But
Yeah.
most of the Muslims I came across are either OGs or gang members who just got tired of the lifestyle, or it's people who came in with that already. But I've seen it from every race, every car become Muslim. I've seen shit. I was at Solano. I seen 15 Norteños turn Muslim.
I mean, it's a very interesting dynamic. My biggest thing I'll just reiterate is just like I want to see the Muslims speaking out as much against radical terrorism than as they speak out against the deportation of Somali
I mean,
criminals. Or
I mean, how many masjids have you attended? A lot of masjids
nah,
speak out. A
when they do
lot
the
of them
other
speak out
thing,
against it.
no, listen. When they do the other thing, they not just in the masjid. They in the street arguing and fighting and tripping. Go in the street, Give me a
Well,
protest
it goes a lot of it
against
though
that.
too. A lot of it goes to the dawah. You see a lot of people do. It goes back to learning being from the scholars and learning from the scholars. Even with the dawah, when you see a Muslim and a Christian arguing about religious faith, that's frowned upon in Islam. That's makruh. That's very frowned upon. That's not something we're supposed to do. It tells you in the Quran to not go and debate your religion, because you're not. It goes back again. We can't. I can't make you a Muslim. If you don't want to be a Muslim, that's on you. If you ain't read the Quran and compelled by it, if you ain't read the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, you're not compelled by it, then there's nothing I can do, nor can I say. You're gonna do you regardless. So to have
Well,
that back and forth with somebody, a lot of it is just people who are not up on the knowledge, people who don't understand the knowledge. They don't know how to practice it.
we have some Africans in the comments, and one lady said, KP, that's not true at all. Muhammad said, I have been commanded to fight against people till they testify that there is no God but Allah, that Muhammad is the messenger. And that's a quote from the Sahih Muslim 22.
The
No,
hadith.
Man,
It's a lot of stuff in them Abrahamic texts that really just people just don't really they ain't really read it and they just don't be knowing. You know what I'm saying? Like it
well
just
at least well at
contradict a
least
lot of stuff.
but at least the Christians had the the insight to go and make up the New Testament to deal with the contradictions. Like they was like, we're gonna have to address all this old stuff that we were doing, right? The slaughtering of the goats and all that. That's why I will never understand Hebrew Israelites who say follow the commands, follow the laws, but I don't see them sacrificing no lambs, goats, sheeps, nothing. And then they'll tell you, well, that aspect of the Old Testament we don't got to follow, but everything else we do, right? But something's gonna have to happen with Islam, and pretty much it's gonna have to be like what Saudi Arabia and all these countries did, where they just outright reject the radical element in the name of like economic prosperity.
I mean a lot of that
Because
came from the Wahhabism. The Wahhabis, that a lot of the radicalization of it is from the Wahhabis. That's where it started from with the Wahhabis, and that they really a lot of the material and the stuff that they pushed around, it became effective and it became big. And that's kind of why the Saudi government over time they had to break themselves from it,
yeah,
because Wahhabism is very radical, very very radical.
and I feel like even though like I don't feel like all Muslims are radical, I feel like there's a lot of sympathizers within the ranks. They not might not be willing to go kill nobody, but they're like, I understand. It just to me it's like when you look at a boxing match, right? It could be a black versus a Hispanic, right? You might be saying, I'm gonna call it down the line, and yeah, whoever's the best fighter should win. But deep down inside, if you black, you low key room for the black person. If you Hispanic, you low key room for the Hispanic person. Um, that's to me, that's the same thing with any religion, right? Uh, you're not 100. Like I don't think Muslims of America are gonna jump up, take up arms, and go fight against ISIS. Like I just don't think that's gonna happen on any mass scale. And it's
Nah.
just like until that happens, I just got to look at them with one eye, with the side eye, bro. Not you, bro. I know you, but I'm not gonna lie. I don't try to judge people or well, I'm always judging people. I don't try to like profile people, but I used to work in a grocery store, bro. And when those ladies would come with the slit, like you know what I'm saying, barely could, man. I used to be scared as
The burqa.
freak. You know the one where they could only look through the little slit.
Yeah, burqa, huh?
Bro, I used to be so terrified, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I used to be like, man, one of these heifers about to probably blow this motherfucker up. But they never
Yeah.
did nothing, thank God. But I can't lie and say I wasn't worried. I can't
And
lie and say I wasn't worried.
you can't even really blame it on you neither. Like, I mean,
Bro,
that's our experiences in the West.
that was 4 years after 9/11.
I mean, but
Exactly.
even like with the sister or girl, I don't know who she was, who gave the hadith, right? It's like when we give hadith, it goes back to the tasfirs and going back to you can't, because in that hadith is not telling you to go to war. It's telling you, it says in it to the explanation of it is not to be forced. So it's a lot of things I'm saying, like, you know, I had to learn something. A lot of shit that I was reading, right? I had to realize that if I'm getting the English translation of it, then I'm not really getting the bulk of what it is. I mean, it's all this, these things were Arabic, and Arabic words and shit has a complete different meaning. So when I learned that, and that's just, I just think, like, it's like my mom always say. My grandfather was a preacher at one of the biggest, churches back in the 1950s on the east side of LA, in Watts. And my mom says today, like, what she hate about a lot of preachers today, they don't go to theology school. A lot of them say they just got a calling.
Right.
And it's like you're on the pulpit and you're almost responsible for facilitating this information. But if you haven't actually went and researched and read and studied this information, you're just going from your own understanding, then the message can get mixed.
Yeah, only thing I would say about that is, like, in order to use that as a valid argument, you would have to possess the ability to control the classical Arabic language, and prove that it was mistranslated. So
And I mean
yeah, I
that's what
don't
we
know.
have. We have scholars. We
But
have
the
that's you have people who spent their life doing these things. That's it's like that's why, like, you have the four imams,
Who would you
and when
consider translated it?
I mean, well, for what, the four imams, not the four imams, those are the ones who translate. Then you have, I mean, from modern times, Sheikh Albani and these people who spent their life research to get this information, translate this information, and break it down. But it all comes, the Sahaba, it all comes through these forms. That's why, if you say you were Muslim before, you know that we have hadiths that's strong, and then we have ones that's weak. So every hadith that we come across, you have to find out the chains of where this hadith came from. It's a lot of hadiths that are out there that people, because we think at the time it wasn't the internet, so you had certain people in Pakistan who were practicing a certain way, and people who were practicing Iraq. So certain traditions, certain things that they believed in, certain things that they were taught, it was their belief of their region. So you have people who went and gave dawah and say, hey, this is how it is. This is why you'll see some people pray with their hands cross-folded over. You see people pray with their hands to the side because everybody said, hey, it says that the prophet said, pray as you see me pray. And it's people who say, well, I see the prophet praying this way. So, I mean, it's like Tuck said, it's an age of information. So a lot of these things, we just learning more information, more information. Nobody's perfect. It's bad shit in Islam. It's a lot of bad shit. I can tell people it's racism in Islam. It's heavy racism. African Americans get treated horribly in Islam.
So why deal with it?
I mean, because I'm not a Muslim because of my race. I'm Muslim because of what changed my life. What gave me something? What gave me salvation? What gave me a relationship with God that I never had? Going to church my whole life and still out here doing the shit I ain't gonna speak on it. Brandon know me very well, but doing the shit I did, it wasn't that didn't penetrate my heart. That didn't penetrate my soul. You feel me? But I don't convert. Like, I'm not one of them blacks who become Muslim and then just become Arabic. You got a lot of
Oh
brothers who
yeah.
become Muslims and then they take on the Arabic identity. I'm still a black man first.
Hey, I feel you on that. My only pushback on that, uh, with the language and stuff, is we still have people today speaking Arabic. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't got as many people speaking like Greek or like Hebrew, right? Which some people will say is Yiddish, like what the Bible was written in originally, right? The original text. But let me get Costa. Let me thank both of you guys for coming up. I'm gonna move on. Let's get Costa. Thank both of y'all. And if y'all want to come up on the next topics, feel free. I'll put the
All
link
right, love
up.
you, big bro.
I love you too, bro. Costa, you got the floor, my man.
Can you hear me, Brandon?
Yes, sir. Bro, what you got, a new
That's
whip?
what's up. Hold on.
Bro got a new whip.
Hello?
Yeah, you got a new whip, dude.
Hello.
He can't hear us. We can't, you can't hear
Why?
us. I don't know. You're out of here. Get your situation fixed. All right, guys. Real quick, let's look at a quick video. So as we go forth, we can have information about what actually happened in Nigeria. So we won't be talking out of ignorance. I'm gonna run through this about 5 minutes, then we're moving on to TARIQ Nasheed's major loss. Do you think I should save the Tariq topic for last, or you think I should just go directly into it? Because we're gonna do Tariq Nasheed. Tariq Nasheed takes a major loss right after we find out the strategic process of the bombing in Nigeria, because there may be more bombing.
So where exactly did the US military just strike inside Nigeria, and how did they pull it off from hundreds of miles away? First, let's talk about the location. The strikes hit Sokoto State right in the northwestern corner of Nigeria. This is a critical area because it borders the country of Niger. Security analysts have identified the specific targets as camps belonging to ISIS-affiliated militants. These are likely Islamic State, Sahel Province, or a locally affiliated group known as La Kerala. But why here? This region is seeing a dangerous shift. Extremist groups are moving down from the Sahel, specifically from Mali and Niger, into northwestern Nigeria. But the real surprise is how they did it. Unlike the drone strikes we often see in other regions, this operation relied on heavy naval firepower. The U.S. Navy launched Tomahawk cruise missiles, long-range precision weapons. These missiles were fired from a U.S. Navy warship positioned all the way down in the Gulf of Guinea, off the southern coast of West Africa. The operation was conducted by U.S. Africa Command. Crucially, both the Pentagon and the Nigerian Foreign Ministry confirmed that these strikes were carried out with the approval and intelligence support of the Nigerian government. But how did the Nigeria war started? To understand this, we have to look at how this country is divided into Muslim and Christian. The northern part of Nigeria is predominantly Muslim, with approximately 50 to 55% of the population adhering mostly to Sunni Islam, while the southern and southeastern regions are majority Christian, comprising about 45% to 35% of the population. Boko Haram, an Islamist militant group, is primarily based in northeastern Nigeria, specifically in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states. This group adhered to ISIS strategy and will eliminate everyone, whether Muslims or Christian, that does not follow their rule of law. Sadly, most of the victims are their fellow Muslims brothers too. Let's look at their bases. Boko Haram's strongholds are mainly found in northeastern Nigeria and the surrounding Lake Chad region, which stretches across the borders of Nigeria, Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. Among the most significant strongholds is the Sambisa forest in Nigeria. This vast remote forest has historically...
He think his ass is slick. Talk about Niger. He was trying to say nigger. Because if you saying Nigeria properly, how can't you pronounce Niger? Niger is the root of Nigeria. But then he says Nigeria. But then when he speaks about Niger, he says Niger. This dude's a goofball.
served as Boko Haram's primary headquarters and training ground, providing a concealed base for planning attacks and sheltering fighters. Another critical area is the Lake Chad Islands. These swampy, difficult-to-access islands offer natural cover, making them ideal hideouts for militants. They function as logistics hubs and supply depots, allowing Boko Haram to move men and material across borders with relative ease. Further, the rugged terrain of the Goza Hills along the Nigeria-Cameroon border acts as a strategic fallback zone. Here, Boko Haram maintains camps and lookout posts, using the landscape to evade military operations. Finally, around the town of Bama in Borno State, Boko Haram has established logistical and command centers. This area plays an essential role in coordinating their operations and sustaining the insurgency in the region. But why is the Nigerian government unsuccessful in defeating Boko Haram? They face various problems, from lower budgets, manpower, to geography. The group operates in remote, difficult terrains like forests and swampy Lake Chad Islands, which are hard for the military to access. Nigeria's armed forces often struggle with outdated equipment, poor training, and logistical issues, limiting their effectiveness. Intelligence gathering is difficult because Boko Haram uses guerrilla tactics and small-scale attacks to avoid detection. Additionally, poverty, unemployment, and weak governance in the northeast allow Boko Haram to recruit easily, with some communities mistrusting government forces due to corruption and previous abuses. The group's cross-border operations require regional cooperation, which is often slow and complicated by sovereignty concerns. Human rights concerns and security force abuses have also eroded public trust, making it harder for the government to gain community support. Let's take a closer look at how the U.S. would go about targeting Boko.
Yeah, that's the baloney answer. I want to let you know, since all of the the majority of the West African countries are dealing with this terrorist activity, they should have ECOWAS bases in those places. Bases built through cooperation by ECOWAS. All the countries put money in to fund it. It shouldn't fall to one. It shouldn't fall to one country to deal with a situation, especially if they go on. The terrorists are moving back and forth across borders. But ultimately, why they can't do anything about it is because the presidents, the Muslim ones particularly, they don't want to do anything about it. They see it as a loss. But if they're allowed to retain power while radical Muslims are doing dirt, they have no incentive to stop it. Tell Tinubu you're going to be out. You're going to be out tomorrow if you don't do something about this. That's when bro going to start doing something about it. Because the only thing these people value is power and money. They don't give a damn about a couple of people's lives in the north of Nigeria as long as he's in power, as long as it ain't him. These are very sophisticated operations. I know people think this is just ashy dudes running around in the desert with AK-47s. No, these are armies. These are armies with military installations and bases and all that. They're not just going to disappear. You're going to have to go. You're going to have to go out there, risk your neck and whoop feet to push them up out of there. If anybody should have a coup, it should be the Nigerians. Man, that's going to be rough. I think that'll destabilize the whole region, bro.
Boko Haram. First, they'd establish naval and air dominance. A naval task force made up of aircraft carriers, destroyers, and amphibious ships would position itself in the Gulf of Guinea. From there, they provide air cover, launch precision strikes, and be ready to quickly deploy troops wherever they're needed. Next comes intelligence gathering. Using satellites, drones like the MQ-9 Reaper, and signal interception, the U.S. would keep constant watch on Boko Haram's movements, strongholds, and communication, giving commanders real-time awareness of the battlefield. They'd also work closely with Nigeria and neighboring countries to coordinate security along borders, share intelligence, and conduct joint operations that make it harder for Boko Haram fighters to slip across borders. The weaponry? Cruise missiles like Tomahawks would launch from naval destroyers and submarines to take out key Boko Haram bases and supply depots. At the same time, stealth fighters like the F-35 would carry out airstrikes on command centers, minimizing collateral damage. Special forces would roll out in coordination with Nigerian and regional troops to conduct precision raids, capture or eliminate Boko Haram's leadership, and help train local forces to better fight the insurgency. Finally, disrupting Boko Haram's logistics, especially in challenging terrains like the Lake Chad Islands and Sambisa Forest, would be vital. Cutting off their supply lines and making movement difficult would severely weaken the group. Together, this multi-layered approach combines America's advanced military capabilities with regional partnerships to systematically break down Boko Haram's strength, reduce their recruitment, and help restore stability in the region.
Now, how does that, I don't get it. You're telling me the West, they just want to destabilize Africa. They want to, well, what they're doing is stabilizing Africa. How long do we have to keep giving proof to where you could say, dang, things do change? You still yelling out the same stuff your great-granddaddy was arguing, but he didn't have access to the information you have access to. But you're still operating like someone who's ignorant to, the ability to go and look at least what, the consensus is saying about the situation. Oh man, what you mean, Great Wall? They been, boy, have you been in these spaces? Oh, you didn't know the West wants to destabilize Africa and take all the resources and yada, 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 yada. But the more we push the West out, look at how radical Islam moved in. Oh, France just wants to, well, France is gone. They haven't came back or asked to come back. Now look what's going on. The radical Islam is coming in.
For the U.S. to completely dismantle Boko Haram, they would need Marines and boots on the ground. The strategy involves deploying a ship capable of carrying Marines, tanks, and armored vehicles close to the shore using these hovercraft. These hovercraft traverse water, beaches, and difficult terrain, delivering troops where traditional landing craft or aircraft can't go. Marines then secure beachheads and push inland to clear urban areas and complex battlefields, missions impossible without boots on the ground. The strength of amphibious forces lies in their seamless integration of ground troops, tanks, helicopters, and F-35 fighters, working together to suppress enemy resistance and maintain momentum. Hovercraft add tactical flexibility by bypassing coastal barriers and carrying heavy vehicles air transport can't handle, allowing forces to strike where the enemy least expects. Once ashore, amphibious forces conduct sustained operations backed by naval gunfire and air support, stabilizing captured areas and protecting civilians. Their operations follow a disciplined rhythm: planning, embarkation, rehearsal, movement, and swift action, transforming sea power into lasting ground control. While aircraft carriers dominate the skies, amphibious warships bridge the gap from sea to land, turning devastating airstrikes into actual control and enduring influence. Only with this combined capability can true victory and peace be achieved.
Now, you mean to tell me that the United States can go in and handle this business relatively easily, but these countries ain't reached out to the United States? Oh, yeah, because the West wants to take all the resources. Da-da-da. Well, you do have to pay for what you want. And that's what I think it all boils down to. The African countries, they would like the help in a sense, but they don't want to give up nothing for it. They didn't got used to the free 99 global welfare plan, just like a lot of black people in the United States. Well, we want the help, but we not willing to pay for it. You should do it for free. No, man. You got all that oil and all them billions and billions. You got billionaires. You got damn near equal amount of billionaires in Nigeria than you do to America. But you want something for free. Well, you better get it together. I don't think anything is wrong with what's going on. I actually appreciate that Trump specifically saw the need to do something about it, because everybody else just turned a blind eye to it. Also, Sudan is going on. Are they asking America to intervene? I don't think so, but the Nigerians are. The Nigerians convinced Nicki Minaj to come out publicly in defense of their situation. You want help? Ask for it and have that checkbook ready, because America is taxing. But yeah, don't scream that you're a Pan-Africanist while you out here defending anti-black forces that just because they happen to be black. They ain't giving a damn about being black. They caring about Allah. That's all they worried about. Ah, man, let me see. The most expensive items are free from the government. 100% LA Thorn. Facts. Say it again. Look, again, the most expensive items are free from the government. See, some of us, if you know, you know. Shout out to my brother, Sucker Season LA, in the building. Keep dropping facts, bro. Hey, bro, I'm going to hit you later on today, man. We got to link up, get some tea or something. 100. South Africa is training South Sudanese soldiers. I hope that helps. They got their own problems. Nigerians are literally helping American troops as we speak. And now, as they should. And I feel like it's only the Nigerians and stuff outside of Nigeria who have a problem with it. But bro, you ain't at risk of getting slaughtered by ISIS. Come on, bro. You affiliated with damn ISIS, bro. And you a black man. Get the hell out of here. The Muslim slave trade alone should be enough to make you be like, I ain't dealing with them. Okay. Where are we? We're at 108. Let me see how much time I got remaining. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go to the next topic. Tariq Nasheed just taking L after L. Hey, are the visuals clear or does it look fuzzy? Let me know. Does it look blurry like it needs to be focused, or are the visuals clear? They look clear to me, but they could be fuzzy to you. Let me adjust. I'm sitting on this hard ass stool. My cheeks hurting. Okay, we good. That means we could keep going. We good. All right. So yeah, TARIQ Nasheed came out last week with a crazy announcement saying that he beat TARIQ Nasheed in court and TARIQ has to pay him money. Now, you know, TARIQ Bey loves to drag stuff out, so we don't have the number. Oh, shoot, Leonard Roy is here. Yo, Leonard, you got about 2 minutes. Go ahead, my brother.
I am glad they bombed Nigeria. I just wish I was there in one of the planes to watch and see the bombs go down. I love it. I love it.
They bombed it with a boat. They bombed it with a boat, though.
Yeah, bomb with a boat, bomb with another one. They could have had some doggone Hueys out there like Vietnam and napalmed them. I would have loved to seen it. I would have loved to seen it. Yeah. I don't care about them people. It's like they do what they want to do. Situations like that, I'm going to land the plane and then I got to go. God bless America and nowhere else.
You funny. Hey, he got that from a movie. But hey, nah, hey, listen, at the end of the day, for me, it's a win-win. America secures a better relationship with Nigeria. We get rid of some radical Islamic terrorists and people, you know, all the people who've been perpetuating this narrative for freaking forever, they're stuck. They're looking stupid now, right? Because the West is, like I said earlier, the West is undermining West Africa. They're sponsoring the terrorism and all that. But then when the West go and bomb the terrorists, now all of a sudden they mad and defending the terrorists. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, don't be a hater. Smoke Al Qaeda. That's what we used to say, you know, when I was in Iraq and Afghanistan back in the day. Like, don't be a hater. Go smoke Al Qaeda. No matter what faction they were, too, because, you know, you had the Sunni and the Shias. We'd be like, you know, I need to take a Shiite Sunni. My stomach's bothering me.
No, stop.
I'm telling you, bro. We were like, man, we don't give a damn about none of y'all. We were on some serious God bless America and nowhere else action. So when I saw it on the news, and then you had all these black folk here, ain't even got a passport, right? See what they doing to us? Us? You ain't got a passport.
Nah, when you say us, I ain't no murderous damn terrorists, so that ain't no us.
Thank you, but that's them on the Democrat plantation. I mean, just look at when they talk about at the black church. They don't say pastor, they say pastor. Don't pastor sound a lot like master?
Yep, sure do.
I can't make this up because see, I'm a simple man. I got a high school diploma. That's all. And I ain't got no college, you know, this and that. And hell, I'm not one of them, but I passed a common sense test 5 days a week, twice on Sunday, just to make up for Saturday.
Hey, look, it is what it is. But
yeah, but I just wanted to add that little in with your show. You do your thing, bro, because you know sometimes I get to rolling and I roll, so I don't want to interrupt nothing. I'm listening in. Do your thing.
Thank you, my brother. Man, if y'all don't know who that is, that's Leonard Roy, triple OG, man. That guy always cooking, dropping some jewels. But as I was saying before, last week, TARIQ Bey, aka Morris World TV, announced something incredible. He announced that he had officially defeated TARIQ Nasheed in court. They've been embroiled in a legal battle for a little over a year. That started when TARIQ slapped the dog piss out of TARIQ Bey in the mean streets of Los Angeles. TARIQ Bey said that TARIQ had been ordered to pay him an undisclosed amount of money. TARIQ denied it, but the research I did, which you can easily go Google it yourself, TARIQ Nasheed, just type in TARIQ Nasheed open court case, LA County, and you will start seeing all the information about their case. They don't have the transcripts for the current judgment, but you can see that they've been going at it since like the beginning of 2024. Since 2000. Yeah, since the beginning of 2025 and even into 2024. TARIQ Bey is celebrating. He was just in Long Beach calling me out, telling me to pull up on him. And I'm gonna let you see what he I wonder if this dude had a clip of it.
What's going
Hold on. Let me see if this guy has a clip of it. Yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna steal this clip from my brother from another mother, Afro Think Tank. And we're gonna just show you the celebratory mood TARIQ Bey was in after winning in court. So here, I'm happy for bro.
So, fam, let me give y'all an update real quick before I gotta get out of here. Today was the final day of trial with myself and Mr. TARIQ Nasheed. Let me give y'all the first breakdown. The first breakdown is that TARIQ Nasheed looked very defeated in the courtroom. For the past few days that we've been in the courtroom, he looked very, very defeated. And I'm going to tell you something, family. At one point, my humanity kicked in, and I had to remember who I was dealing with. But from my perception, Mr. Nasheed looked very ill. He looked very ill. Looked like he had lost weight. And I'm just giving the description. The back of his hair was salt and pepper gray. The front of his hair was shoe polish black. And I'll go into some greater details.
Damn, Reek, you can't afford to polish. You can't afford to dye the whole head, bro. Got the gray in the back and the rest of it. Hey, anybody who see TARIQ for 5 minutes in real life could tell bro look like a thrift store, like he got everything he owned at a thrift store. He looks like he's working hard to present an image that's really not him.
I get to the studio, but I'm just telling you right now that the brother, the brother did not look like the TARIQ Nasheed I just smacked TARIQ Bey. I'm telling you right now. So I'll give you a brief breakdown. Now, to be honest with you, family, it was like, so I defended myself, right? I defended myself. And I want to give y'all a better breakdown, but I give you a breakdown like this because I only got a.
Wow, Amore finally won in court. This we should be doing a celebration. We should be doing a celebration. Amore finally won in court. Too bad it was against another black man. Wasn't against the actual courts that they always talk about. They have a superior understanding of the law over.
Short amount of time before I get out of here. But in the beginning, right, it was kind of complicated to get my bearings, right? Because I come to court.
Save 30% on holiday sides and desserts. Save on mac and cheese.
Come on, bro. Get YouTube Premium. Africulture.
Apple pie.
The Afro Think Tank.
And more. Get 30%.
And unbeknownst to me, that all the evidence is digitized. In other words, it's not like that in Baltimore, that you send all your evidence in and you really just have your papers with you in order to have an extra copy. But
yeah, in California, they put everything up on the screen. It's like a TV screen. All the evidence is up there. You don't bring no paper evidence. It's better like that, so everybody in the courtroom could actually see what the evidence is, not just the judge.
So I was there on some old school type stuff and trying to get all my papers together, et cetera, not thinking that they had already been put in and they digitized. And so whenever you approach to put evidence in, you don't have to do all that. They just put it on the screen. So that was one of my hiccups, right? But the trial, family, I knocked the trial out the water. After that little hiccup, family, I ran through this thing flawlessly. I mean, he tapped out right then and there. He tapped out. Allah is my witness. His attorney tapped out. I don't think y'all heard me. His attorney tapped out. When it was time for Mr. Nasheed to hit the stand, his attorney said he won't be taking the stand. He tapped out. He tapped out right then and there. He tapped out. I had all of my exhibits ready. I had everything ready. So they put on an expert witness. Let me rewind. Let me rewind real quick. So after I get through the digital process, everything is just flowing. One thing that I will say that Ms. Nasheed attorney was able to do was to make it look like it was an argument between TARIQ Nasheed and I, as opposed to the focus on the slander. And so they was able to pull that off. They masterfully pulled that off, because I make a lot of videos, but my position was these videos was post the slander and the defamation. But nevertheless, they was able, I think in my mind, they were able to pull that off, right? But everything else, hands down, family, I think I'm going to school to be an attorney, man. Now, the whole thing about it is, I beat that to the studio. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I beat my case. You know what I mean? I beat my case. What? You beat the case? What's that? I beat that. So look. I mean, I beat my case, and they gotta pay. Is it what I wanted them to pay? No, but hands down, FBA, they really need to consider this, because I'm gonna tell you the truth, family. Mr. Nasheed looked very pathetic and weak in there with these old Europeans trying to defend him. It
supposed to be pro-black, but got white European lawyers to defend him in a very important case. But I've said this for years. TARIQ Nasheed doesn't care about black anything. The fact that you let him give you the title foundational Black American is absolutely preposterous. This guy does not stand in solidarity based on anything black. TARIQ is always going to look towards the others, as we call them, for anything serious, right? TARIQ ain't going to hire a black dude to paint his house or to redo his plumbing. He's going to hire a white person. His old lawyer was Asian. When he went up against me, he hired the little black dude who I think was his boyfriend. And then when it came down to this, where was some money on the line, bro got a white lawyer. But TARIQ had a response, and we actually have a clip of that, a short clip of that. Let's see what TARIQ had to say about this situation, because TARIQ does his usual trying to lie. Like when he lost to me, I already knew he was going to come out with a lie, because when he lost to me, oh, we got documentation. We didn't lose. We got documentation. It's like, you could have all the documentation you want, TARIQ, but you lost. And that's why I kept saying, you lost today. You can say whatever you want, but you lost today. This guy's just plausible deniability, the true mark of a grifter. Let's listen to what he says.
Fool was suing and didn't get no money. This fool Dude. Oh God, it was funny. This fool was trying to run a finesse. Oh, this ugly bastard didn't get no money. It's hilarious. Oh God, this ugly fool, this ugly deformed fool. My lawyer just made a fool out of this dipshit.
You could just tell by the way Tariq is talking that he's lying. You could tell by the way he's talking. Oh, my lawyer made a fool out of him. Tariq walks around thinking, hey, white people do everything better than black folks. But if he didn't get anything, you could sue him for lying and say he did sue you. You could go get more money from him for saying he did win in court. But Tariq's not gonna do that because he knows he's lying. But I agree, Tariq, when you see him in real life, he does look weak and feeble and like he looks unwell.
Dipshit. And I don't have to give this dude not a dime. I ain't got to give him nothing.
TARIQ NASHEED, I better stop capping. You know I got the receipts. I'm going to be live next week. Stop capping. Stop capping. You know that you paid all you could pay, and when you couldn't pay no more, you filed an insurance claim. Stop capping. I have the receipts. And the insurance people only jumped in the last few months, right before trial. Stop capping. I have the receipts. We know you ain't got that bread like you claim to have. I got the receipts.
Nah, no way. Grifter living above his means. But Tariq's lying, oh, I didn't have to pay him nothing. If you believe that, you're dumb as hell. You're crazy as hell. Dude lost in court to Taharka. At the end of the day, Taharka be lying too. But in this case, Taharka, I believe, is telling the truth because why lie? The results, the ruling is gonna come out. But this, like Taharka said, this is more of an indictment of FBA. Look at your king. This guy is weak as fuck. He can't even beat Taharka Bey in court. But you think this dude is somehow going to teach you how to beat the United States government in court on behalf of reparations? You just look dumb as hell. Guys, this guy's taking a loss. Every time somebody stands up to Tariq, Tariq loses. Tariq is nothing but an online bully who teaches other people how to be online bullies. And every time he goes to court or somebody stands up against him, he ends up losing. He lost to me. I could have sued Tariq and got money. But I have a thing about taking other black men to court. Maybe it's a weakness of mine, but I don't like that. Tariq took me to court. He's a freaking bitch for that. And then Taharka Bey took Tariq to court. Now, I'm not going to say anything bad about Taharka Bey. Tariq did slap that man across his face on a public sidewalk. But I hope Taharka got everything that was coming to him. I hope he got everything his heart desired. Because at the end of the day, if you have a disagreement, debate me on it. I don't have a problem with Taharka Bey. Every issue Taharka Bey has said something about where I was like, I don't agree, I challenged Taharka Bey to a debate on it. Taharka Bey ain't going to have no debate with me because he will get his little Moorish ass cooked. But I'm not going to fight him about it. Hey, if you don't debate me, then that proves that I'm right and you're wrong. But FBA, man, y'all got to do some soul searching. Y'all got to do some soul searching, man. Is this the dude y'all gonna let be the face of y'all movement? Because whether or not y'all say he's the leader, Tariq is the creator and the face of the FBA movement. Period. So what you gonna do? You gonna let this goofy idiot keep making y'all look horrible, or are y'all gonna stand up and get y'all house in order? Tariq is whack. Okay, he lost in his bad. But those are pretty much the two topics for today. We didn't reach our goal. 5 super chats of I didn't put the goal, but the goal was to get 5 super chats of $5. We didn't reach that. We actually got $7. I was gonna discuss the Deontay Wilder situation, but we didn't get enough donations here, so I'm gonna make that its own separate, smaller video. And I also wanted to discuss the Nick Shirley situation, but this is long enough. And if I want to do more, I'll just do it short form. Thank you all for watching this. I appreciate everything you do for me and this channel. Rest in peace to FBA, Pan-Africanism or perish. I truly believe in that. And I'll be back with you. I'm going to be doing some traveling, guys. So you're going to catch your boy en route. So make sure you support the content. Like, share, subscribe if you have not already. And just be on the lookout for some more content coming from yours truly. Till the next time, take care of yourselves. But most importantly, please